All right, let me just continue on here. I don't know if you saw all this, but here's all the stuff coming down past his fin, the real dark part of his fin. It's coming down and it's hitting the meat. This is where it really starts hitting into his fleshy stuff. Now, it breaks through his scales. Here we are looking down in this area right here. It's broken through his scales. And we can see arteries running down here. Let's look at this artery right here. The big tube is an artery. Remember how plants love red blood? You see any plants growing anywhere else other than in this red blood?
Yeah.
You see them? They come down in the little blood vessels. They love that blood. Now,
it's so red. Now you zoomed in, look at that, look.
Yeah, it's the red blood, and that's the big ones are the arteries. And what an artery is, in case you don't know, is a delivery device that brings down all huge quantities of blood. Then you branch off into blood vessels that carry the blood over out from the main source over and deliver it down into littler ones until they get down to the capillaries, which are here at the very end.
Tree trunks and branches.
Right. These are and now it squirts it into this black tube, which is the vein area. Now, this is what controls your blood pressure, you know. Right down here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so what did we just see? We saw literally the inside of the fish. Now, what would happen, do you think, if you know anything about how lymph nodes work? Lymph nodes try to attack things that are attacking you. So I've decided...
That's right, they're after the toxins, aren't they?
Right, they try to get rid of the toxins in your body. And that's why people get skin cancer, because they don't have the bacteria in those lymph nodes to break down the toxins. Now, in this case, I found the lymph nodes because I said, this guy's got to be trying to fight back. I'm going to look at the lymph nodes. So I did. And here they are right over here. These black spots are all lymph nodes. These are all lymph nodes. Those, watch the toxin way up here. You see that brown stuff? That's lymph. Yeah. That's lymph coming down from, you see what it's doing? It's eating into this. It's coming down and killing everything here. You see the green and the...
intercepting it, look. Yeah.
This is the toxins invading, and the lymph is trying to extract the toxins. It's dumping it into the lymph node tube, and in this tube it comes down, and it comes right down over here. You see it coming down? Right into the lymph node. That is a lymph node. You see it?
Yeah.
Now,
like I say, the main channel, isn't it? Yeah.
All the lymph inside here is what's supposed to deal with all that crap. And it's trying.
I mean, just look at that. Just look at that. Right? What the hell's that? I mean, I know you just told me, but just look at it. I mean,
it's a lymph node. It's a lymph node, and what is its job in life is to detoxify the things that are trying to attack you and to break down. You have things right now dying in you, like in scads, and something's got to break it down. What happens is the bacteria run around through the body, through that fluid-filled highway, and they pick up all the dead debris. And then they either break it down enough to put it in the lymph nodes, and then the lymph nodes get it in here, and this is like a breakdown factory. It's like a recycling factory. They break everything down, and then they squirt it out to be dumped into your urine or feces or whatever. But all around
that's
here...
right, because... Yeah, because biology doesn't like to waste resources, does it? It likes to change things.
Well, it has to get rid of these byproducts. You see this other webbing here? You see this?
Uh-huh. I hadn't noticed that before. Wow.
You see that? Those are...
Oh my God, look at that!
Yeah. Those are membranes. Those are membranes that are filtering the things coming into it. You see what it's doing here with the chemistry?
Mm.
You see that?
Yeah.
It's trying to eat all that stuff. It can't do it. It's dying. It's probably by this time already it's dead. Now, you continue down the lymph. Here's another one. You see running down here? Same thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and over the channel, yeah.
You see it? It's trying to fight back against all these toxic invaders too. And here it comes down. Here it comes down. Here it comes down. Here it comes down. Boom. Right to that lymph node.
Right. Yeah, so what are the chances of things looking like lymph nodes that happen to have main channels just like lymph nodes? Do you know what I'm saying? If it quacks like a duck, and it's got feathers like a duck, and it swims like a duck.
It's probably a goat.
Or swamp gas.
You see this?
Right.
You see the layers? This is the next one down. They're all like this. And this one here is being killed too. You see, all of these things feed in with all their toxins. And in the middle, there's supposed to be some bacteria that breaks all that stuff down. And it's just being overwhelmed. Look at it.
Yeah.
Now we come down to the next one. Same thing. Totally overwhelmed. And the whole series of them running all the way down. This is exactly what happens in skin cancer. Identical. In your skin, you have bacteria living everywhere in your skin. Every cell has bacteria in that area. When you go out in the ultraviolet light, and when you're exposed to different toxic chemicals and things like that, it kills those bacteria. So now those bacteria can't work on the chemistry to break the chemistry down to bring it over to the lymph nodes, or the lymph nodes themselves have the chemistry damaged in them, so they can't break down the toxins that are coming. This thing, look at this thing. This thing is just overwhelmed to the hilt. You'd never see those. They would never show up over the top. And that's why when people have skin cancer, you can see these big lesions on their backs and so forth, these big black bumps, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, in melanomas or something.
Melanomas, yeah. And that's it right there. And that's the reason for it. It can't break down the toxins. I'm telling you right now, a fecal matter transplant will replace, in my mind, if the bacteria is missing, it will get into here. And it will get into there by that fluid-filled highway. But you need the fecal matter transplant with enough species of bacteria that you will have whatever it takes to break this stuff down. Now, you're not going to be able to break down snake venom and things like that. You're going to be killed by some real heavy-duty poison. I don't care how many fecal matter transplants you have. Just like this guy, there's no way he could have survived that.
Yeah, some things are just too much.
It's overwhelming.
If you drink mercury, you're done, aren't you?
Yeah, arsenic, something like that. It's a case closed. But your normal invasion, like everybody else gets, you're pretty well protected if you have the correct bacteria. Without the correct bacteria, you're dead. You're done. It's all over.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, so whoever's made that must have been very angry, because that's nasty. Yeah.
Well, Typhon was the product of Gaia having intercourse with Tartarus. And she sprung forth Typhon, which was the terrible monster. So the Earth had intercourse with Tartarus. And this was...
Do you mean Tartarus like the underworld Tartarus?
That's the way I see it. Hold on, let's look it up. Okay, Liam just made a fabulous connection that I sort of missed myself. I originally told you about the sky and the earth having sex and creating this and that. Well, Liam, tell them about Tartarus. Well, first of all, let's look at Apollodorus. And I also mentioned about Apollodorus 163. when the gods had overcome the giants, Earth was still more enraged and had intercourse with Tartarus and brought forth Typhon. That's the giant dragon we've just been looking at. Now, we just looked at Tartarus, and there it is. It's hell. It's just, and Liam says, wow, it makes sense. She had sex with the sky, and then she has sex with the underworld. It's crazy.
Man's black boyfriend, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you know, hey, go both ways. Try it, see what happens. Tartarus, the infernal regions of ancient Greek mythology. The name was originally used for the deepest region of the world, the lower of the two parts of the underworld where the gods locked up their enemies. It gradually came to mean the entire underworld. Yikes.
Well, you did say everything was a dipole, didn't you?
Yeah, well, yeah. And it just gets more and more and more bizarre, man. Now,
this is the thing that I often say this, Roger, on my own show and other places. The world's really weird. It's really weird, and it's going to get weirder. Do you know what I'm saying? We ain't got a clue. The world is nothing like what the advertisement says on the tin, you know.
Well, there's an unveiling going on right now. There was a very, very stone wall silence for a while because people were afraid to speak. And now I think enough people are speaking that it's not crazy anymore. But anyway, let's just look at this one and probably wrap it up pretty quick. This is the Theogony. Now, this is by Hesiod. This was written 8th to the 7th century BC. Theogony was the original works of basically the first guy that wrote was Hesiod. And that's only 3,000 years ago. That's not a bazillion years ago. And the reason he wrote this was he was out tending his flocks and on Mount Helicon. And the daughters of Zeus, which are called the Muses, showed up and said, we want you to write all kinds of nice things about our father, Zeus. And he says, I can't write. And he says, oh yeah, you can write. And they gave him what he called a magnificent rod that it just started writing. And he wrote all of these books about how everything happened. And there's a bunch of books, a lot of them. And it goes on and on and on. The descendants of the Titans, Typhon, here it is right here, Typhon. Then the descendants of the Titans, the children of Zeus, his 7 wives. Now he was in control of the earth. And that was only 3,500 years ago. This is not that long ago. This is just, it's so hard to even start to think that that's possible. But here it is.
Here it is, and I'll tell you this as well. I remember this earlier. That I remember a few years ago, within the last 10 years, there's someone knocked out a basement that had been covered up in Seattle. The building was only about 50, 70 years old. They had stalactites in it that formed way faster than anybody thought possible. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
you could make mud fossils very quickly, and the reason was the mud fossils themselves were, and the flood that Yale has acknowledged. You know about Yale talking about the soft body creatures being preserved.
Yeah.
Yeah. They finally.
Yeah. Gotta love a bit of academic theft and plagiarism, haven't you?
Well, I showed it to them long before they took credit for it, so I would say that could be semi-accurate. But
I think you've got a claim myself, but it's hard to fight them people without.
Yeah. I just want it to be known. I'm sort of over the bitter phase. I was very, very bitter. I was having a hard time with it, and you still have hard days.
Yeah, well, you ought to be. You pour that work in. You know what I mean? You get people beating you over the head that aren't referencing anything. It's hard. It is hard work. This is why, Roger. This is why it's so important. And this is why we need to not worry about these people, because someone's got to do this. If we don't do it, this world's just going to get locked up in a technocracy forever. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And like I was saying to you before with this, the cool kids are starting to figure this out and they're starting to gather.
Well, that's, it's funny you say that, because there was a professor. Hold on a second. I think I got him here. Professor Dork. Here it is.
Well, great name for a professor.
Yeah, Brian Dork, PhD. Now listen to this. He wrote this paper, and I contacted him. They don't contact back. Here's what he wrote. The embarrassing, alluring biblical giants. He is a theology teacher. He's supposed to be looking into these things. Whatever interpretive path we choose, the giant remains alluring, even if a bit embarrassing. Now, he talks about how you only can be insane to believe any of this stuff. Then he comes down here, he says, a giant conspiracy. Biblical scholars may shy away from discussing Bible's giants in polite company for a variety of reasons. One being that, for those of us who teach, giants are a topic of obsession for many of our inquisitive students, the ones that want to learn. They're obsessed because they won't talk to them about it. And here's what he says, especially the putatively giant Nephilim and heroes of old in Genesis 6:1-4. How tall were the ancient giants? You know the real giants. Do we have fossils of giants? I heard we do, and I've seen pictures. And then he says, as for one of his colleagues in the recent email, he put it to me in an email, sometimes it's difficult to move past the discussion of the Nephilim in Genesis. It's literally the only thing that interests the students, the only thing they want to talk about. If you have not yet viewed any of the badly photoshopped YouTube videos, often set to ominous, mystical music featuring 50-foot skeletons next to hapless, shovel-wielding desert workers and heavy machinery, you should treat yourself to that spectacle.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories about 50-foot skeletons, that's not even a fetus.
That's a joke. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how, now this guy is a professor. I contact him. Contact us. I contact him. You're not going to get any contact back. I've never had one. And here he makes fun of all this stuff.
Yeah, and I say, if you don't, so he's teaching something that he doesn't believe in. So you can't. So he don't believe his own words. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like if they're interested in this stuff, and you want to pull these kids in to fleece them, why not do a course on giants? You probably get a load more money. Do you know what I'm saying? But then it calls them into question. And what if then it's true? And do you know what I'm saying? It gets me angry, bro.
They can't come out and speak about it. They just can't come out and speak about it and still be considered sane and be.
Now to something new and exciting in the AI.
This is about Ragnarok.
Family Go. It's a new product that offers
Ragnarok is another thing that's really interesting. What's this about? Oh, this is the same people, George Fox University. How they're really studying everything that's going on. I think this is where that Brian Dork is from. Is that where he was from?
This academic bullying thing that you bring up, I've found that papers written, people have been complaining about that in other fields of study. Do you know what I mean? And even there's stuff in science studies, right, Roger, that have got odds against chance of 100 octodecillion to 1, right? And the International Statistics AGM that happened said if it was any other topic, it would be totally accepted. And because it's quote unquote psi, just not. Even though there's octodecillion to 1. I had to look that up, see if it was a real number. That's a ridiculously big number to 1. Odds against chance. It's ridiculous. They just throw it out.
Mars was hit by Venus. We were almost hit.
Velikovsky.
Yeah, Velikovsky wrote all about it, and it's just extremely obvious when you know what to look for. These people, the first Curiosity mission was so illustrative of every bit of biology. You've seen the Morse code and the crab and the blueberries and all that stuff.
Yeah, the crab is a bit obvious, isn't it? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
everything really is once you stop and look at it. But anyway, we probably should wrap it up here. I got a couple things I got to do. But yeah, this was a good talk. It's, you know, I ramble on. I go from here, I go to there. But as far as the electron flood theory goes, the only two particles that exist is the W and the Z boson. That's it. Everything else is made of those two particles. There's the black one and the white one. And you can call them either way. I don't care. One of them has the mass and one of them is the burner. You know what? I got to show the house getting knocked down. That's the killer to clinch the deal. And I say these are the two particles, the white one and the black one. And the two of them together are attached together. They call it a Dirac neutrino. And it's also what we always thought was just an electron, but the electron has no mass. It has to be carried by the boson. Now, two of them together make a gluon, and that's just what. I'm sorry, the W and the Z together make a gluon. That's the gluon has a power. It's just like a bar magnet. Two bar magnets together make a photon. But everything is constructed of these two. All the rest of them are just varieties and stages of energy and spin and all that stuff. The only two that exist is the W and Z. That's electron flood theory. And they coat a layer of blackness, which is this layer right here, just like the Russians saw in space. When this is in a vacuum chamber, and these are charged particles injected into a vacuum chamber in zero gravity. It's not really zero gravity. See how it's sort of oval? It's still some kind of suction towards the Earth, but this is as good as you're going to get while you're still in orbit. Now, what happened was when they put these particles in there, they freaked out. You see what they say? During the experiment, we contacted the Earth guys. They couldn't believe it either. One guy locked himself in his office for 3 weeks. The guy from Max Planck, he freaked out. They said they couldn't find him for 3 weeks. They never expected.
Well, these were the creme de la creme, the best among us.
Yeah, well, you know, the funny thing is, Max Planck himself said that science advances one funeral at a time.
He did, that's right.
You got to get rid of the guy before you can get anything new. So now here's what's happening. The dark matter goes right to the center, just like it does in the protons. And then the white coating coats it. And then enough white coating coats it where it's stable to the black, then no more white can get in, and that's when you get your orbitals. So you end up with a black ball in the center. This is not completely coated yet. And then it would become completely coated with white, completely saturated with white around the outside, to a point where the white would say, you can't get into here anymore. I don't want you. I have enough whites here. And it would say, well, I want to come in. This guy right here, sitting right here. He says, I want to come in. They say, no, you can stay there. Because I'll push you there, you push back at me, and you can stay there. That's it. That's your orbital. That's your valence shell, whatever you want to call it. You understand me now?
Yeah.
So instead of the core being a big positive, somehow magically pushing away the electrons, which are negatives, you are coated with the core of electrons. And then those electrons push away the orbiting electrons. That's what they missed, is this whole layer. That's
just
what
like
they
the
missed.
interstitium, missed that, didn't he, as well?
They miss everything. They miss everything. They won't look at any of my light research. I was told I was a tinfoil hat guy by Fermi Labs, so don't ever contact us again.
And I'm add to that.
I'm showing the same particles that they wanted. That's Fermi Labs particles, and I'm a tinfoil hat guy. So this is what we're up against.
A liar. You know.
No, it's a real problem, I can tell you that. And if we can do this and get these electron showers, physics of electron showers, you don't have to do all this or that or this or that. All you got to do is get down to the neutrinos. And if you can take the white ones and separate them from the black ones, you got energy on steroids. From a few hundred giga electron volts to a few trillion electron volts. Now, like I said, I've been running this laser for years on the same single battery, or batteries, a couple of batteries in there. Very simple. And so how much energy could it be using up?
Yeah.
If we can get billions or trillions of electron volts, we're only using maybe mega electron volts. Even if we were using 1 billion electron volts and we could get 3 billion back, we're good to go. We just take 1 billion and keep this thing going and take the other 2 and use it in your car, your house, wherever. And these things you could carry. Go on.
Yeah, I wondered about that. Can you, because it's, I don't know if it works like this, but couldn't you just put a tiny little solar panel collector in it? You know what I mean?
Do what?
To redirect them. Can't you put just a little solar panel in there?
That's what I say, right there, right there. That's it. You see it?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, get it right close before they, yeah. And then you've got it, haven't you?
That's it right there. The laser comes through, the black can't get through, the white comes through, it hits this. The reason I got all these different colors is because there's a new material called perovskites, and they're transition metals. And you layer them with a thin film, you just spray them like a spray gun. Spray on the aluminum, you spray on the other things, and they all absorb different frequencies. And if you can bus them in to one bus bar, basically, you know what a bus bar is? It's a big main conductor.
Yeah, solar panel. Yeah.
And you drive, you drive it down through this diode. This is a photodiode, which means photons of light can come through here, and they're puffy. That's why I got to show the explosion, because that shows how puffy they are. They have no mass. It's unbelievable. So if we could keep bam, 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 just like atomic bombs, forcing that white to go through here into the batteries, it never can come back because it's a one-way gate. Now let's look at the atomic bomb. Hold on a second. Okay, as I said before, there will always be the central black core, which will suck all the white electrons and surround that black core. Now, in an atomic bomb, there's so many packed, tight particles that when you compress them even a little more, they can't take it and they explode outwards. So that's what an atomic bomb does. You got fissionable material that wants to get the hell away from each other, and then you force them even more compactly, and then they all take off. So what would happen? What would you expect to happen? You're going to see the outer core would obviously be the thing that would go first, which is the outer electrons. Those are the white particles.
Leading edge.
Right. And I told you they have no mass. They have no mass that I can determine to speak of. Now.
So no movement, just energy.
Right. All we're going to see is electrons flooding into everything. My model is dipole electron flood theory. Dipole means two things, a positive and a negative. The positive is going to be your big heavy black ball. It's called a muon. The negative is going to be the electron neutrino, the white one called the electron showers. What we're going to see is precisely what we did with the light, only this is from an atomic bomb, but we split the white ahead of the black. And I showed that with that wave, and I said house burning, then the house goes. Well, let's watch it actually happen. I'm going to explain it as we go through it. This is atomcentral.com. Now, here goes just the house. This is a test house. I think it was close to a mile away. What I want you to look at is all of the wires and so forth up here, and the poles, and the house, and the shingles, and the windows, and all of the things that can absorb electrons, which would combust if you hit them with a blowtorch, which is nothing more than a zillion electrons. And this is what it's going to get hit by. But the electrons have no mass. This is what drives me crazy. When I saw this, it freaked me out. I just couldn't believe it. Here's what's going to happen. The house is just going to smoke. It's literally going to smoke. And then it's going to, here it goes. The first thing you'll see is every particle in the entire atmosphere will just lit up like a candle. See it all lit? Now, all it's doing now is smoking. That's it. This freaked me out. Now it's going to come to black particles. So those are the white ones. There goes the black ones. Now I just stopped it because what I want you to see is the first thing was there was absolutely zero movement when the white particles infused into anything that would absorb them. The light absorbed them, the shingles, the windows, the insulation around the wires, the telephone poles, everything. So now that is gone, and here comes the black ones. They don't burn anymore. There is zero amount of burning here now. Now, I am just going to click it and very slowly, because the wave is going to literally turn around and come back, because the black particles back there, which are gravity, there's still a ton of them probably sitting at the tarmac where it first of all went off, and they want to come back to that. So it's turning around and coming back. Watch carefully. Just watch up in this area mostly. All right, let me get that out of the way. All right, here it goes. It keeps pushing, pushing, pushing. Watch, all of a sudden you're going to see it turn around. Look, see it coming back? It's turning around and coming back. It's no more push.
They're doing a U-turn.
Turning around and coming back. It says, whoa, I got to go back. That guy's lonely back there, those black particles. Now, let me show you again the proof in our light experiments, which is nothing more than a miniature subatomic bomb. All right. This, my friends, is a unidirectional subatomic nuclear explosion. It pushed all the white particles ahead of the black. And the black never got bigger than it was when it started. Little black balls, they never changed size. The white got big, big, big. And when it hit the house, burn, 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 bang, the house goes. And then because we still got a lot of black back here, everything turned around and came back. Well, not everything, dusty particles. Whatever was, and plus they're going to be a lot of charged particles will turn around. Anything that had energy will turn around and go back to be sucked back. All right, Liam and I had a really good time. I enjoyed it a lot, and hopefully we're going to do this again in the not too distant future. And it was enjoyable. Thank you, Liam. I appreciate your time, my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. It's been great to finally have a chat with you.
Yeah, now Liam has got a podcast going. They're getting set up, getting started. So I will try to get a link on this video so that you can be engaged, because hopefully I'll be able to put some more with him, because he's willing to put the time in. It looks like to me we put in a bunch of time today. So, and there's so much to talk about. We could talk forever.
Yeah, there's so much, brother, and the communities I know that they all love you.
All right,
don't know, so.
Let's close it up, brother. I love you. Thanks for helping me. All right, bye bye.